Good morning. Welcome to Monday, March 18th, I believe it is today. Hey, thanks for joining us today as we get ready to talk with Dave momentarily. Stand by.
What Wall Street's doing today. Phillip, Statler, and I have been trying to organize things and figure out what we're going to talk about this morning, and pretty much the world always makes that agenda up for us. Downtown we go. Statler Financial Services. Phillip Statler's there. Phillip, do I dare wish you a happy birthday, or should we just keep that quiet?
We can just keep that a little quiet. You know, with Facebook, it's hard to keep anything quiet. But, yeah, hey, it was a great weekend. Got a little downtime, but now it's time to kick it in gear for the next couple of weeks anyway.
Absolutely. You're coming up on tax season in there, and I know the rush is in process. Starting out the morning, we start out with the same story we had last week. Boeing is getting its butt kicked around the parking lot. Now the feds are even subpoenaing records on the development of the 737 MAX. This is starting to look downright bad for Boeing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And, you know, they have now come to the conclusion, at least it sounds like it, but from what I've seen, that the two air accidents are seem to be somewhat related into how they happened and what happened. So, you know, so now it's brought some speculation as to what's happening at the FAA, that they didn't catch this. And furthermore, it's hurting Boeing stock this morning, down another 2.3%.
Yeah, it's a temporal thing because Boeing will come back, but until they get this straightened out and Boeing shows that their nose is clean or fixes where their nose wasn't clean, this is going to be a bad time to be a Boeing investor. If you've got stock, it's no fun. On the other hand, it might very well be a buying opportunity for somebody that doesn't, right?
Well, that's true. I mean, they were up 1.5% on Friday's close, and then so far they're down about 2.3 this morning. So it could be, but it could get worse from here yet. We don't know until all the probing gets done, and so there may be some more buying opportunity coming henceforth, depending upon what the probe really finds.
Yeah, the optimist phrase would be the buying opportunity might get stronger, right?
That's right. There you go.
That's the way of putting it from a salesperson's standpoint, I guess. The other thing that's got folks excited this morning is this week is the Lyft IPO. IPOs always excite people. That's the other ride-sharing service. Uber gets all the press and gets all of the mentions, but there is a number two in that business, and that's Lyft, and they're kind of jumping Uber's gun and doing an IPO, and we'll see what these ride-sharing services are worth when they start offering stock, right?
Well, exactly. So Lyft is starting what they call the IPO roadshow, meaning they're going out talking to the big banks, talking to other people, trying to build enthusiasm and to folks to buy their IPO when it comes out. So they're expected to raise $2.1 billion. But that's what they're going to raise. So what does that really mean that Lyft is going to be worth? And that's what I find kind of interesting, because they really determined that based on that offering, Lyft will be worth somewhere around $23 billion. That's an awful hefty price tag.
The business, it's one of those things where a business plan that makes no sense working ends up actually having done well. But the idea of, hey, take your car, get dispatched, and just say you're sharing a ride instead of calling yourself a licensed taxi cab. I look at it and say, this thing doesn't have legs, but by God, it does. And at least some folks on Wall Street are saying this is going to be the moneymaker of the century, which kind of somewhere between won't work and moneymaker of the century is probably reality, right?
Well, when you look at the ride-sharing services, Uber, Lyft, and there are some other ones out there that are regionally based.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. They are not really, when you look at them, they are not a rideshare company. They are a technology company. There are so many other things that they can do with that app. I mean, we're already seeing it with Uber Eats, right, where they pick up and deliver food. So what else are they? I've read an article not too long ago where they're getting into the medical field, where they are working with medical providers to pick up and deliver patients. And so the rideshare was the entry level into this market space. But what they're trying to do going forward is a lot more than just being a rideshare service.
Truthfully, I hadn't even thought about the ancillary side of that, but your point's well taken. My reaction was using the brick and mortar model. There's no capitalization on the company itself. It's all nothing more than the information provision. But I suppose for things like rides to the hospital and delivering groceries, there is a big top end for that line of work, isn't there?
Well, there is. We're all busy today, and so if we can get somebody else to do something for us at a reasonable price, then you will see that start to build up some momentum.
I understood. It's going to be interesting to watch as it goes. A tidbit from overseas is not going to affect us much in all probability, but is messing with the German markets. Everybody's heard of Deutsche Bank. It's ended up in the news in the Donald Trump investigation stories, and it's one of the big banks across the globe. They're talking about buying out like their number 3 competitor, Commerce Bank in Germany. That's got investors over there upset, and it will eventually have some ripples over on our side of the pond, but it's going to end up becoming a news story as the week progresses. Other stuff happening. We only have one report that I'm aware of this morning, and that's I saw about 25 commercials from them on TV over the weekend. Overstock.com did not do what the investors wanted, did they?
No, they didn't. They really are kind of struggling. They missed their earnings by like 50 cents a share, which was a huge deal. Revenue was about I don't know, 600,000 or so short. So they really came in and missed across the line. They've seen a decline of 4% in company sales, and so they're just not had a good quarter. And so obviously they're getting beat up this morning pretty bad. They're down almost 5% before the market opens up.
The marketer in me always looks at those TV ads from Overstock.com. Wait a minute. And they're busy saying, no, we don't do overstock stuff. We've got all of the full price stuff that will sell to you cheaper. Kind of take your own marketing position and flush it down the commode. Doesn't seem to be working for them, does it?
No, it doesn't. Let's face it, competitors have come into that market space. And so you've got to do more to get your brand out there and to get yourself out there. And so, and with the Amazons out there and those type of things, it is becoming more and more difficult. Wayfair, I got to think Wayfair is probably giving them a run for their money at Overstock.
I was going to say they're kind of sandwiched between two extremes from the we've got everything Amazon to the specialty stores down the line. Overstock's kind of sandwiched, and they really haven't found a market niche they can defend and stick with, have they?
Well, I think you're right, Dave, and that seems to be the issue with them. But they've been in it a long time, and so hopefully they can weave out that niche a little bit better and work to build their brand and become a little bit more profitable.
Understood. We let the record run out while we were trying to decide what else was going on. What do you see affecting the markets this week coming up? I haven't really had a chance to look at the schedule yet.
I don't know. I know the Fed minutes, I think, come out on Wednesday. And I read a little bit of a brief about how the interest rate dots, as they were saying, where all the interest rates are and plotting them on a graph is not helpful right now. And so they need some direction, though. It looks like to me that based on what I'm seeing that I don't anticipate the Fed to raise interest rates anytime soon. And so, the 10-year Treasury is trading down it was below 2.6%. I don't know if it's where it closed on Friday or over the weekend, but it's a little bit over 2.6 now, but it was down in the 2.5 range.
Now, I was going to say, so much for 3%. The 30-year note's having trouble staying above 3. It's just not working from an interest rate standpoint, is it?
No, it's really not. And so I think that's got to give people some concern of what our interest rate's going to do. And then where do we go from here? Are we really slowing down? And if we are, it's probably a good thing the Fed does halt. But what's going to happen with the markets? I don't know.
That's a good question. Looking at the way the bond rates are going, it looks like a whole lot of smart money is saying, let's get into bonds, which ought to, at the very least, give pause for consideration for the individual investor, right?
Well, it should. I mean, one thing people need to really think about right here is interest rates are still fairly low. And when interest rates start to go back up, and we all know that eventually interest rates are going to have to go back up,
Hmm.
um, the value of bonds is going to go down. And so we need to make sure that people are very careful about how much they put into bonds right now, and making sure that they understand how that bond investment is going to work.
Absolutely true. Again, good reason to go to a good, solid financial advisor before you make major life decisions, because the experts can look at it from well, what do they say? Ice water in the blood basis, an objective viewpoint, right?
Well, yeah, an objective viewpoint, and somebody, if you're dealing with somebody that is a fiduciary for you, which not everybody out there is,
True.
they're looking out for your best interest, and that's the key. Not everybody's a fiduciary out there. Matter of fact, most of the wirehouses are not. They're just brokers, and so you need to be careful of what kind of advice and where it's coming from.
Understood. So, setting the table this morning, it was an up day on Wall Street on Friday. You mentioned that Boeing actually got a little relief, and it showed the Dow was up 131 points, Nasdaq up a little under 58, and the S&P was up 14 points as well. That's not a bad day to close out the week. Now we're 45 minutes before the real money gets thrown around. Boeing is under pressure again. How are we doing on the rest of the marketplace, Philip?
Well, you're right. Boeing is putting pressure back on the Dow again, Dave, and so they're trading down about $40 a share. I mean, $40 on the Dow. S&P 500 is up a little bit, $2.70. The Nasdaq's up $3. Gold and silver are both trading up. Silver by about a 0.5%, back up to $15.40 an ounce. And gold is trading up over 13. They're at $1,305 an ounce. So looking good there. And crude oil is back above 58. It's at $58.67 a barrel right now.
Don't want to hear that part. Overseas markets, Japan, Hong Kong, China, generally optimistic. I get green ink at the close in Asia. Europe's a split vote. Germany's a little concerned about that Deutsche Bank merger, so they're sitting down a little bit. England, on the other hand, trading up this morning halfway through their day. Philip, I want to get a hold of you to figure out how to turn this whole labyrinth into a productive retirement. How do I find you on the phone?
Dave, give us a call at 382-0037. Catch us online at statlerfinancial.com, a great website to go to for some information. They can catch up on some of our radio shows there too. Follow us on Facebook at Statler Financial Services, like our page there. And then every weekend, join us for the Statler Financial Radio Show, noon on Saturdays, 10 a.m. Sunday mornings. Now, I know there's a good chance with the, March Madness coming that we may get, knocked out on a Saturday or something, but most Saturdays we're there.
We're going to cross our fingers. It's not going to happen. The Gators are playing on Thursday, so we'll know then. Fair enough?
Fair enough, man. Hey, you have a great day, and I will talk to you tomorrow, Dave.
You too, sir. Thank you very much. It's 105.7 Light FM and Statler Financial Services, Phillip Statler.